So please join me in standing for the presentation of the colors, followed by the national anthem that will be sung by the head notes. Thank you, and please be seated. I'm Mark West, and as Dean of the Law School, it is an honor to welcome you all here to the Law School today in celebration of our new Veterans Legal Clinic. And I want to make clear that was some beautiful pageantry, but we're here to have fun and celebrate. This is really a time for smiles and celebration. I want to take a moment to recognize some university leaders and officials who were able to join us today. First, University of Michigan Regent Kathy White, and President Mark Schlissel. Both of whom will speak to us shortly, as well as Tim Lynch. Where did Tim go? There's Tim Lynch, the University Vice President and General Counsel. Chris Mattis, yeah, of course, for Tim. Chris, where did Chris go? Chris Mattis from Senator Gary Peters' office. And I think, did Joan Larson make it here? If not, Michigan Supreme Court Justice Joan Larson, who may or may not be on her way. Thank you for showing your support of the clinic by being here today. This celebration would not be happening without those whose generous support made the Veterans Clinic possible. We're grateful to all the donors who are listed in the program, and I want to give a special thank you to those who are present today. Tom Washing, David Callahan, did David make it? Okay. And Dave Woodruff and Charles Cook from the Bob Woodruff Foundation. We also are grateful for the advice and enthusiastic response we have received from the community, from the military, and from other organizations that serve our veterans. Thank you especially to Lieutenant Colonel John Wojcik for joining our celebration this afternoon. There. Yeah, very good, thank you. Michigan law now offers 18 clinics that serve a dual purpose. First, they're a wonderful example of the engaged learning opportunities that we do so well across this great university. In the law school, 71% of the class of 2014 took a clinic. Clinics give our students the opportunity to utilize their lawyering skills, meeting with clients, participating in court hearings, drafting contracts, and many other aspects of practice as they are guided by our outstanding faculty. Second, as students gain practice experience, they serve actual clients and the community. Michigan law students choose to take clinics in part because they understand a lawyer's obligation to serve the community. Clinics allow students to help clients who would not otherwise have access to high-quality legal representation, and the results can be life-changing for both clients and students. Students represent children, families, small business owners, nonprofit agencies, the wrongly convicted, human trafficking victims, asylum seekers, startups, corporations, and individuals in need of core civil and criminal legal services. And now they also serve our veterans. The establishment of the Veterans Legal Clinic allows us to serve those who have served us, people who have experienced long deployments away from loved ones, faced death, and perhaps been injured in the service of country deserve access to quality legal assistance upon their return. We at the law school are proud to be working collaboratively with other units on campus, including the schools of social work and medicine, to help veterans address their legal needs, and we are excited, and I want to be clear, we are excited about this. We are excited by the possibilities that our model presents for similar clinics nationwide. It is now my great honor to introduce University of Board of Regents member Regent Kathryn White, who has a unique perspective on the legal issues facing veterans. Regent Kathryn White is both a lawyer and a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army. She currently is serving in the Michigan Army National Guard as the command judge advocate for the 46th Military Police Command in Lansing. Previously, she was in the U.S. Army Reserve and was an instructor of law at the United States Military Academy at West Point. She also was the Reserve Associate Dean of the U.S. Army Judge Advocate General's Legal Center and School. On active duty, she was in the Chief Counsel of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Honors Program, serving as the Intellectual Property Counsel for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. She currently is a professor of law at Wayne State University Law School. Please join me in welcoming Regent Kathryn White.
Thank you so much. It is such an honor to be here today to celebrate veterans and the Veterans Legal Clinic, and thank you for this great opportunity to be here. When the clinic opened its doors earlier this semester, it was filled with excitement and promise, and with promises of assistance to veterans within and beyond the University of Michigan community. Today is exciting because this celebration makes it official. The Veterans Clinic at the University of Michigan Law School is standing ready to serve those who have served. The clinical faculty and the Michigan law students stand ready to keep the promise to stand with our veterans. Upon discharge, many military veterans face numerous legal hurdles and barriers. They require legal assistance far more frequently than the rest of the American population. For many, it is the first time they've sought legal assistance, and so it is an experience that is unfamiliar and often very expensive and difficult to afford. We have more than 700,000 veterans in the state of Michigan, and we need someone to take their case, to be their advocate, and to have their back, as they have always had ours. I am proud to say that Michigan law is doing precisely that, stepping up, taking their case, having their back, leaving no one behind. Fortunately, Bob Woodruff and the Bob Woodruff Foundation's leadership gift made the clinic from a well-researched dream to a critically important, top-notch service for veterans. The clinic's potential to serve is furthered from the additional generous donations and collaborations with area law firms and other University of Michigan schools and colleges. Michigan's links to the military are long and have been mutually beneficial. Numerous memorials on Ann Arbor's campuses honor the men who turned away from teaching and learning to volunteer in the Civil and the Spanish-American Wars. As World War I began in Europe, the 3,600 or so members of the Student Army Training Corps helped build a major portion of the Michigan Union, which they then borrowed for use as barracks and for use as a mess hall. The influx of World War II-era veterans and the Reserve Officer Training Corps, the ROTC, contributed directly to an extraordinary leap forward in academic programs, enrollment, and facilities. And it is appropriate that we pay some of that forward. Now, the Veterans Legal Clinic gives us the opportunity to do more, and it is appropriate that we do so. In addition to assistance with a daunting amount of paperwork and complex experiences with immense bureaucratic government agencies, veterans need help with the real stuff of life after being discharged from service: civil law issues, pension, medical care claims, discrimination, access to rights to unemployment benefits, reasonable accommodations, family leave time, wages, and more. The Michigan law students working at the clinic know they are doing important and meaningful work and are gaining solid professional experience in an area of law that promises to grow. This experience, because it is so meaningful, will enrich their lives. And most importantly, we must keep in mind that we honor the veterans and their service through this clinic. And in closing, I would like to pay tribute to all veterans who are here and who are joining us, and also around the world, by sharing a poem. It's called "It is the Soldier," written by Charles M. Province. And although there are no perfect words to express our appreciation for veteran service, this poem gets close, as it expresses that it is the people who serve in uniform who are the ones that secure our freedom in this nation. And although the poem's called "It is the Soldier," it includes all service members, including sailors, Marines, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, cadets, and midshipmen. It is the soldier, not the minister, who gives us freedom of religion. It is the soldier, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It is the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the soldier, not the campus organizer, who has given us freedom to protest. It is the soldier, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the soldier, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. It is the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows the protester to burn the flag. Thanks again for this opportunity, and go blue.
Thank you, Regent White. Now I'm pleased to introduce University of Michigan President Mark Schlissel. Dr. Schlissel, now in his second year as president, is the 14th president of the University of Michigan. He is the first president who is also a physician scientist. He previously was provost of Brown University. He began his career as a faculty member at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. He then taught at the University of California, Berkeley, and went on to serve as Berkeley's Dean of Biological Sciences. He was chair of the biochemistry department until his appointment as Brown's provost in 2011. And I want to say, despite all of this science talk, President Schlissel gets it. And I just learned one of the reasons why he gets it, and that is that as an undergraduate, he read the writings of Professor Yael Kemzar. So I am pleased to welcome the physician scientist who gets the law school. Please welcome President Mark Schlissel.
Thanks very much, Dean West, for that introduction. Yeah, the other reason why I get the law school is my wife's a lawyer and she never lets me forget it. but since the university's founding nearly 200 years ago, we've sought to uphold the highest ideals of a public university. We measure our success by the impact we make on society as students and faculty and staff and graduates. Over the years, we've also built an impressive assembly of excellent academic programs in disciplines that improve people's lives, such as psychology, social work, medicine, and of course the law. These programs provide some of the best experiential opportunities so that our students learn as they serve and gain skills and experience that are hallmarks of a Michigan education. I'm very proud that the University of Michigan's breadth of academic excellence and strength of public impact are both represented so strongly in the clinic we're celebrating today. I want to thank everybody who's made it possible. Dean West, our law school faculty, staff, students, and donors have embraced this opportunity to serve veterans and their family members from Southeast Michigan. I especially thank Bob Woodruff and his brother Dave of the Bob Woodruff Foundation. Their vision helped lead to a clinic that enhances the support we provide the brave men and women who've served our nation. Bob is a proud Michigan alumnus, and his poignant story is an inspiration to all of those who aspire to overcome adversity and to make a difference. This clinic adds to the University of Michigan's commitment that includes in-state tuition eligibility, priority registration, and tuition prepayment that eliminates the gap that many returning veterans face before GI Bill benefits kick in. Our Veteran and Military Services program engages at every level, before and during the student veterans' time on campus. The program also works very closely with the University of Michigan's pioneering Student Veterans of America organization. This partnership has led to a number of achievements, including successful lobbying for the post-9/11 GI Bill and recognition as a veteran-friendly campus by several publications and the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. I also appreciate our continued relationship with the Veterans Administration to ensure that our student veterans have access to health care and benefits. Our work with the VA helps to enhance important services for veterans, such as vocational rehabilitation and mental health, through collaborations that include our health system and depression center. One of my priorities for the University of Michigan is strengthening partnerships with other colleges and universities around our state. The Consortium of Michigan Veteran Educators is an example of the great benefits we can provide to students when campuses contribute their individual strengths to a larger goal. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. Dave Woodruff is a passionate supporter of our nation's veterans and chairman of the Bob Woodruff Foundation. He lives with his family in Birmingham and is very active in the regional community. Dave founded the Children's Hospital of Michigan Claybird Classic charity event, which ran for more than 10 years and raised nearly $1 million to support an endowment for the Wayne State University Children's Hospital. Please help me welcome Dave Woodruff.
Well, thank you, President Schlissel, for that very kind introduction. I was very proud of that, and more so proud of this. And also thank you, Dean West, for your great leadership here at Michigan Law. And for those who may be unfamiliar with us, the Bob Woodruff Foundation was founded in 2006 after Bob, my brother, was injured by a roadside bomb while covering the war in Iraq. For many weeks, we lived through him being in a medically induced coma, and we really didn't know what life was going to be like for him when and if he woke up. But miraculously, and it's been well told, he did wake up 36 days later, and he went back to work, which is why he's not here today, which is a good thing. And our family owes a lot to the soldiers downrange who saved him immediately after the blast, and to the military doctors and nurses who cared for Bob at Loungestool and at Bethesda for those many, many weeks. But along this recovery road, we also learned a lot about the spirit of our service members through Bob's fellow patients and their families. We could not help but be inspired by the experience we all had, and at the same time, we knew Bob had a world of resources available to him once he left the hospital that most of those soldiers did not. So Bob's wife, Lee, my wife, Leanne, and I were determined to make sure that Bob's tribe, which he calls all his fellow wounded vets, that they could get access to the resources they need to thrive for as long as they need them. And so we started small, basically around Bob and Lee's kitchen, or kitchen table in Rye in my house in Birmingham. But in a very short time, although it seems a long time ago, we've very much become leaders in the nonprofit veteran space. In fact, just last month, we awarded $1.1 million in grants that will benefit more than 133,000 veterans and their family members. And to date, we've invested nearly $30 million, providing positive returns for more than 2 million of our heroes. And we've done this by honing our ability to navigate the maze of veteran-supporting charities. More than 46,000 exist in this country alone. And we find, fund, and shape the most efficient and innovative programs that best serve our post-9/11 veterans and their families. And we do so in a way that addresses a myriad of issues, from education and employment to rehab and recovery. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. Which brings us here today to launch the Veterans Law Clinic at the University of Michigan. And though Bob couldn't be here in person, he wanted to have the chance to tell his fellow Wolverines why this program is so important to him, to me, to the foundation, and to the state of Michigan. So, enough for me. I know you don't want to hear from me. Via video, my brother and a very proud U of M alumnus, Bob Woodruff.
Well, thank you, Big Brother Dave. I really appreciate it. And everybody out there, I first have to apologize really from my heart for not being with you there in Ann Arbor. I am now in Malaysia, which is exactly halfway around the world. It's a place, I should tell you, where the weather is a hell of a lot warmer than it is there where you are. Now, I do have this very interesting excuse for not making it there. About a week ago, I got this rare chance to spend the day with the Secretary of Defense, Ash Carter, on board the USS Roosevelt, which is out there in the middle of the South China Sea. You probably also remember what happened with the USS Lassen, the missile destroyer, which sailed within 12 nautical miles from the artificial Chinese islands, also in this very area. It is an exclusive interview with the new SecDef at a crucial time, and believe it or not, if ABC asked me to do a story about surfing squirrels instead of this, well, maybe I would be there where you are. But the big bad part about getting this interview was the timing of it. You know, literally it had to happen the same day, this November 5th, and it could not be changed. I tried to convince the Pentagon, but they would not order the Secretary of Defense to delay our talk, believe it or not, even though they love this clinic you are now creating. So I really want to thank President Schlissel first for making this happen. You have been so committed to this university and the state of Michigan, where there are about 660,000 military veterans, which makes Michigan the 6th highest state total in the country. Also, I absolutely need to give much of the credit for creating this to Mark West, our dean. You know, without your support, this would not have happened. Finally, of course, I want to thank the donors. Those gifts of support made all of this possible. You know, while the Bob Woodruff Foundation was pleased to provide seed funding, it was only through the generous support of other individuals and foundations that this wonderful clinic has come to fruition. So again, thank you all so much for that. So why is it that the veterans of our state and our country need legal help from the top law school in the United States, which it is? I know that some of you there are not veterans. You know, my father served in the Army during the Korean War. My grandfather was a medic at Walter Reed during World War I. But my brothers, David and Mike and Jim, we did not join the military. None of us. All 4 of us did not. But over the years, I did become friends with so many soldiers and airmen and Marines and sailors covering wars as a journalist, but what made me part of your community was because of what happened to me almost 10 years ago. While embedded with the 4th Infantry in Iraq, I should have been killed when my cameraman and I were struck by an improvised explosive device, an IED. There was blood, there was fear, and ultimately I would be in a coma for 5 weeks before waking up. What I'll never forget is what I've learned later. The soldiers, while under fire from the insurgents, rushed to stop my bleeding and get me out. The helicopter pilots who flew into that spot ignored the order from their commander to stay away until the shooting stopped. They ignored it completely. And that's why I am here right now. When I woke up in that Bethesda Naval Hospital, my family and I joined the world of the wounded vets. My family, my wonderful wife Lee, witnessed things that changed our lives. While I was in bed surrounded by family and friends, she saw a Marine in his bed on that same floor in Bethesda Naval, but with no family around. Apparently, they couldn't even leave their jobs to get there. So we started our foundation to keep any of this from happening again. Now, about a year after I left Bethesda, Lee and I met a New York National Guard who was blinded by an explosion in Iraq, but he could see one little dot. So he was technically 95% blind. Because of that, he was informed that he would not qualify to get 100% veterans benefits. He was also told he had to be treated at the VA about 2 hours away instead of the local civilian hospital just around the corner. He was lost, he is ignored. Imagine what would have happened if there were law students and professors like you fighting for him in this new legal battle of his. Some of these problems were ultimately solved, many of them ignored, but there are new issues every single day. Of those 660,000 Michigan veterans, 20% of those veterans have significant mental health issues, and 70% are under age 39. There is an unacceptable gap between the services they require and what currently is available. Most veterans, I should tell you, will return home to live successful lives and better the communities that they live in, yet there will be those who really need our assistance, not pity, but a hand up. When our foundation team looked into this project to open a veterans clinic in Michigan, it really didn't take much time to absolutely sell it. Less than 1% of our population are serving in the U.S. military. Because of those small numbers, many have been deployed multiple times. In fact, I have met some, mostly special ops, who have been deployed more than 10 times, one of them 15 times. Now, the rates of suicide, divorce, homelessness, depression are very high in the veteran community, and if that is not addressed, this could damage our country's reputation and our economy. You should know that medical and psychological problems cost billions if not cured. So get them treatment, find them jobs, make sure that they have the legal help that they need to prevent issues from spiraling absolutely out of control. So in the past 10 years, since my personal wounds, I have learned a lot. Now, despite the fact that 99% of Americans are not active in the military right now, almost every fellow civilian I have met wants to do something for them, to help them in any way. I was told a couple months ago that when the Michigan Law School asked for student applications to work in this clinic, all the spots were immediately taken, and all the students are veterans, which is particularly poignant. This really tells you something about the university of ours. Now at the hands of President Schlissel, that law school ranks near the top in the country, guided by Dean West. More importantly, it shows us something about you as law students. We know that after you graduate, you can do anything you want. You can go and practice law, you can teach, you can hit Wall Street, or you can join the NFL. Who knows? But I assure you that at those cocktail parties with your friends for years, they just will be filled with remarkable stories you can tell them about what you saw and witnessed in the veterans legal world and how you fixed it. You should be very, very proud. So again, I apologize for not making there today in person, but I will be back later this year to thank you over and over again. Now, please, this weekend, go out and beat Rutgers. Go Blue.
Thank you, Dave, and please convey our thanks to Bob as well. Please do let him know when we defeat Rutgers. The Bob Woodruff Foundation has really been instrumental in making the Veterans Legal Clinic a reality, and we're very, very grateful. Thank you very much. And Bob provided the perfect introduction because our final speaker is to offer remarks on behalf of our students is Alexis Bailey. Alexis is a second-year law student who holds a Bachelor of Science in Economics and Operations Research from the United States Air Force Academy and a PhD in Public Policy Analysis from Pardee Rand Graduate School. Prior to attending Michigan Law, she was an assistant professor of aerospace studies at Loyola Marymount University. Alexis is a student attorney in the Veterans Legal Clinic, and she is the president of MilVets, which is the Michigan Law Student Veterans Organization. In addition, she is an associate editor on the Michigan Law Review. She also is a major in the United States Air Force Reserve, serving as United States Air Force Academy Liaison Officer Director for the state of Michigan. Please join me in welcoming Alexis Bailey.
Thank you, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to have been invited to serve as the student speaker for this occasion. To say that I and the other Michigan Law student veterans are enthusiastic supporters of this endeavor would be a tremendous understatement. The MilVets group actually caught wind of the possibility of the clinic a bit serendipitously through a podcast that was posted on LinkedIn. Shortly after we'd exchanged a few incredulous emails between the group, has anyone heard about this? Is this for real? Board members were actually standing in Dean Santa Croce's office, offering to do whatever it took to make the possibility a reality. We learned quite quickly that the gap between possibility and reality required significant fundraising. More on that in a moment. So what we couldn't provide in financial support, we tried to make up for in wholehearted commitment. We wrote shameless pleas to the administration. We rearranged carefully crafted academic schedules in order to enroll in the clinic's inaugural semester. And we've now expanded the scope of our own organization to build a student pro bono project to complement the clinic's work. We all have varying service backgrounds and varying career ambitions, but we're united in the cause of serving others who've served our country. Those of us who have had the privilege to work with clients in the clinic have found the experience to be tremendously meaningful. As we tackle issues like landlord-tenant disputes, child custody disagreements, looming administrative discharges, and just about any other civil legal matter you might imagine, we're getting the chance to meet tangible needs within our community. We're building partnerships with other local service organizations and facilitating holistic care for individuals facing significant obstacles. And we have a vision to build a program here that can be emulated nationwide, to empower other schools to create programs to do the same critical work in their own communities. We love what we do, so much so, in fact, that all 6 of the currently enrolled students have committed to continuing in the clinic as advanced students next semester. We're proud of the work of the foundation that we're building, and we're excited to watch it grow from here. So while we're all enthusiastically looking ahead to the great things that we intend to do in and through the Veterans Legal Clinic, there's already much to celebrate today. We are grateful to all of you for being here to officially launch this terrific program, honoring both the clinic and the veterans that it serves. We're grateful to the generous individuals and organizations who did bridge the significant financial gap between possibility and reality last spring, many of whom are in the audience today. A heartfelt thank you to each of you for your trust in the work that we've committed to do. And today we are particularly grateful for Bob Woodruff and the Woodruff Foundation, whose initial commitment to the idea of the Veterans Legal Clinic made it a possibility at all. Well, there's really not a gift that could adequately express the depth of our gratitude. We do want to thank Mr. Woodruff and the Foundation with a plaque to commemorate this occasion. So Mr. Woodruff, if you could please come forward. The plaque reads, "From the Michigan Law Veterans Society, on behalf of veterans everywhere, in grateful appreciation for your generosity, your vision, and your commitment to serving those who've served." And in the inscription at the bottom, "For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother." So, thank you very much. So the Michigan Law Veterans Society and the student attorneys in the University of Michigan Veterans Legal Clinic are honored to be able to partner with the Woodruff Foundation and all of our generous supporters to ensure that our community's veterans and their families do have the opportunity to thrive. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Alexis. Alexis was one of the ones who shamelessly talked to the administration, but of course there should be no shame about any of this. We were trying to raise the funds, and there was some concern that we may not reach the goal, and so we were trying to do so a bit covertly until Bob decided to put it on a podcast. That really did spur everyone into action, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited that we were able to reach the goal. I want to single out one other person. Josh Case, the director of the clinic. Josh played a really dominant role in helping to raise the money. I talked to one of you earlier today who said something about Josh as being a good salesman. If Josh is a salesman, the way Josh sells things, if Josh were a car salesman, he would say, "Here is the car." The clinic is something that really did inspire lots of people. Thank you, Josh, for your help with that. So as you can see, we are all very excited about the possibilities that the Veterans Legal Clinic provides. We are grateful to those who have made it possible. Thank you so much for your support of the clinic. Thank you so much for celebrating with us today. And now we can celebrate individually and mingle among ourselves. Thank you so much for coming.